Life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. Your business will never outgrow you. See, the world doesn't reward what you wish for, it rewards what you embody. You have to grow yourself in order to grow your life. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Start noticing your reoccurring frustrations and bottlenecks. Those are mirrors. Authentic alignment doesn't mean comfort, it means integrity. It means saying no to opportunities that don't match your purpose. Change your identity and your reality will follow. The truth is, life doesn't respond to effort, it responds to energy. And when you become the person who naturally aligns with abundance, confidence, clarity, focus, success has no choice but to match that frequency. Stop asking life to give you what you want. Start becoming the kind of person who attracts and deserves that. Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. I'm your host, George Wright III, and today we're going to talk about a powerful idea that can completely shift how you approach success, business, and life. It's this idea that life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. You've probably heard me saying that before. This statement hits pretty deep because it's a truth that most people overlook, and I wanted to talk to you about it today. I was listening to an audio this weekend. It really brought these thoughts up, and I wanted to share them with you. So let's think about this. Many entrepreneurs and business owners spend their lives chasing what they want. Think about that. More revenue, more freedom, more growth. But what if the reason that you're not getting what you want is because you haven't done or become the person who can hold, lead, and sustain it? Carl Jung, who I've been reading a lot from recently, once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." In other words, the outcomes we see on the outside are often the reflections of what's happening on the inside. You've heard me talk about this before with Harv Eker, who says your inner world creates your outer world. And if you're an entrepreneur, a founder, or a thought leader, this concept's pretty critical because your business will never outgrow you. So let's unpack this a little bit today. And this Monday morning, I really wanted to get you thinking about some principles, and I do this every Monday, that you can carry throughout the week because you're fresh. And so let's start with the idea that the inner mirror in your inner world will reflect your outer world. And so, I start with this idea because everything you experience, your relationships, your business results, even your stress or even your opportunities is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. And if you're constantly overwhelmed, you might be projecting a belief that everything depends on you. If you keep running into financial obstacles, you might be operating from scarcity rather than abundance. If you attract disorganized teams or clients, it could be mirroring disorganization from within yourself. See, the world doesn't reward what you wish for, it rewards what you embody. Carl Jung spent much of his career teaching that we have this shadow self, the part of the psyche that we hide, repress, or deny. And these parts often run the show in our decision-making, our leadership, or even how we relate to others. And Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead to us an understanding of ourselves. So when something in your business really keeps triggering frustration, that's not random, it's feedback. In life, sometimes life is just trying to show you the gap between who you are and who you're actually trying to be. And as an entrepreneur, that's golden. If you use this information, the more self-aware you become, the more influence you gain over your outcomes. So here's the truth. Most entrepreneurs try to solve internal problems with external solutions. We've talked about this with confidence and all kinds of things. We chase new strategies, new hires, new software, new ideas, thinking that those things will fix what's broken. But you can't outperform your own identity. You can't out-hustle who you are. Every problem in business is first a personal problem in disguise. And if, like your team lacks alignment, it might reflect a lack of clarity in your leadership. If your marketing feels inconsistent, it could mirror a lack of conviction in your messaging. If you're constantly struggling but never fulfilled, it might reveal that you're operating from survival instead of purpose. I've had that happen in my life. I can tell you firsthand. And the more I've grown my companies, the more I've realized external growth only amplifies what's inside. If you're disorganized, success will multiply chaos. And if you're disciplined and clear, success will multiply that too. So The real work isn't just scaling your business, it's scaling you. And Carl Jung's entire philosophy, if you break it down, was built around one thing: integration. He believed that true growth happens when we stop rejecting the parts of ourselves we don't like and start bringing them into the light. For entrepreneurs, this means confronting the patterns that quietly sabotage us. Maybe you fear being irrelevant, so you overwork. Maybe you fear rejection, so you avoid sales calls. Or maybe you fear losing control, so you micromanage your team. I do that sometimes. I still to this day. All of that is a shadow expressing itself through your leadership. And when you start to recognize those patterns and you don't judge them, but you see them, you gain choice. Awareness gives you that power. It turns, it starts turning lights on in the room when you've been stumbling around in the dark, so to say. But, why? This is why I keep saying personal development is not a luxury. It's a leadership responsibility, because your business, your culture, your relationships, they only rise to the level of your self-awareness. So you have to grow yourself in order to grow your life. And that's why I wanted to start with this topic today. So let's talk about a couple of practical principles that I've identified that can help you to lead your life from the inside out. And these three things I like to call awareness, alignment, and action. So let's start with awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Start noticing your reoccurring frustrations and bottlenecks. Those are mirrors. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me about who I'm being, not just in the surroundings I have? Create habits of reflection. This would be like journaling and meditation, or even recording voice notes after difficult days so you can go back and reflect on those. As entrepreneurs, we love to measure data, excuse me, KPIs, performance metrics and things, but how often do you measure your internal dialogue or internal data? How are your thoughts, your energy, your emotions trending? Because that data drives everything else. Brendon Burchard talks about analyzing and rating and reporting on your different areas of your life. But awareness is the key. The second thing is alignment. Once you're aware, your next step is to create alignment. Make sure your actions are matching your values. I've told people many times, they say they want something in life, but if your actions don't follow what you say you want, it's doubtful you really want it, or that you believe you can have it. So ask yourself, is the business I'm building a reflection of who I truly am? Or am I chasing what I think is going to make me happy? Authentic alignment doesn't mean comfort. It means integrity. It means saying no to opportunities that don't match your purpose. It means building a company that serves your life, not one that consumes it. How many of you are getting your lives consumed because you're chasing things that don't matter? When you operate from alignment, decisions become easier, marketing feels more authentic, people can feel the congruence behind your brand. You're not trying to be somebody or something you're not. That's what creates loyalty, trust, and long-term success, especially in today's marketplace. So alignment is key. Awareness, alignment. Then, obviously, action. All-out massive action. This is the embodiment of everything. This is where you stop setting goals to escape who you are, and start setting goals that express who you're becoming. This future version of yourself. Most people set goals to get something, but high performers set goals to grow into something new. They stretch themselves. They understand that achievement is a byproduct of identity. So ask yourself this question: who do I need to be to create the next level of success? Stop analyzing where you are. Start thinking about who you're going to be, and how would that version of me think? How would it decide? How would it act right now? The future version of you. Then start behaving like that person before the results show up. We expect the heat to come out of a stove before we put wood in it. Like we are expecting results before we actually act in the way we need to. Your identity will change, your reality will follow. Does that make sense? Change your identity and your reality will follow. Now, let's get tactical for just a minute. How do you integrate this inside-out approach in your life? Here are a few suggestions, okay? Weekly reflection. Every Friday, review your week and identify one reoccurring challenge. And maybe instead of saying, how do I fix it, say, who does this reveal about who I am? How does this reveal that? How am I showing up? Maybe the issue isn't your team, it's your communication. Maybe it's not lack of time, it's lack of clarity. I've had multiple times that things keep coming up and I think, man, is this me? What can I do differently to show up differently? Another way to do this is morning alignment. Spend 5 minutes each morning just visualizing yourself operating from a calmer, confident leadership state, the future version of you. And when you visualize that, It'll help you center yourself for the whole day in your leadership style. Personal growth rituals are another way. Entrepreneurs spend hours on business plans, but rarely do we design personal growth plans, daily rituals, things that will, and you have to schedule them in. I've recently been doing more meditating. I've also been working on different skill sets. You have to schedule that in. These habits compound. I'm telling you, they align your inner game with your outer game, and that's when growth starts to happen. Let me give you a personal perspective. About a year ago, I was grinding across multiple businesses, sales, marketing, operations. I was doing a whole bunch of different things. I took it all on my shoulders. And even recently, I've had this happen again. But when this happens, I tell myself that working harder isn't the answer. Because typically that we tell ourselves working harder is the answer, right? You tell yourself, I'm just going to grind out of it. But that's not the answer. I've realized in my life, and this awareness comes again and again, Michelle brings it up to me all the time, and it's a way to say to yourself, what do I need to do different? My need for control or fear of slowing down, my lack of trust in others, what do I need to do to start working on myself rather than on the business or the circumstances around me? Once I start working on myself rather than just on my business, everything changes. Everything starts to grow. Things start to happen. Not because I'm doing more, but because I'm being more. The truth is, life doesn't respond to effort, it responds to energy. And when you become the person who naturally aligns with abundance, confidence, clarity, focus, success has no choice but to match that frequency. And I hope this is a message that you really can internalize today. So here's the takeaway. Stop asking life to give you what you want. Start becoming the kind of person who attracts and deserves that. Your business is a mirror. Your results are feedback. Your challenges are invitations to grow. As Carl Jung said, who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. And awakening is where real transformation begins. If you feel like this is an episode that helps you, I encourage you to really dig deep on it. I want you to encourage you to take a few minutes this week. Write down where in your business or life you're trying to get something that you haven't been getting. Write it down, face it, then commit to changing it from the inside out. And I think you're going to see a lot of things happen. So that's my message for today. I hope you have an amazing week. Hey, listen, if you haven't heard me say it again or before, I'm going to say it again. If you want to build your authority with the stuff we're rolling out with the Authority Media Network, go to theauthorityscorecard.com. It's a quick way to assess where your authority is, where your internal clarity is meeting your external brand. And when you do that, it's just a quick little quiz. It'll give you some ways that you can increase your personal brand and authority, which is what you need for authenticity in the market today. So go check it out. Listen for some new updates this week, and I appreciate you being part of the Daily Mastermind. Hit me up on the Daily Mastermind on Facebook, Instagram, or click in the show notes and you'll see my email address. Hit me up, let me know what you're up to. Let's celebrate some wins and let me know what you're struggling with. That's the message for today. Have an amazing day. I'll talk with you again tomorrow.